Kyle, what's going on, man? How are you?
Good, guys. How you guys doing?
We're doing well, man. Week 3, second NFC West opponent. Do you like getting like 3 division games in early like this?
I mean, if we do good in them, I do. If not, I'd like them to be later. So it really doesn't matter to me. It all depends how the games go.
Yeah. So 2 days of practice in this week. I mean, we thought Mac looked great last week. We'll talk more about him. Any update on Brock or different situation than what you said yesterday?
Pretty much the same situation. He was able to get out there again today and be limited in what he did. And it was nice that he was able to get out and do some stuff, though. You know, anytime you hear turf toe, you get so nervous about that stuff that you don't know which kind it is. And the fact that he's been able to do some this week, I think is a real good sign and gives him a chance to go on Sunday.
So, Kyle, what's the determining factor for you in order for Brock or any injured player to play? Like, what do you need to see in practice, and what do you need to hear from the trainers?
I mean, you got to hear with the trainers that they can protect themselves, that they can perform the things that gives them a chance to be successful, and that he's not going to make it worse. Once you do that, then you're pretty much good to go. Each player is different. I mean, there's some guys that, you know, there's no way you'd let them go unless they got into practice. There's other guys that, as long as they're good on Sunday, you would give them a chance to go. So each situation's a little bit different. But, you know, with Brock, we've been through a lot with Brock. He's played hurt. We've gone through weeks where he's tried to go and couldn't go. So I really trust how Brock is, what he tells me he can do. And if he tells me he can't do something, or if he tells me he can, it's always very honest and responsible, I'd say, in how he tells me. So I feel real good with the communication on him with that.
I feel like we've heard the term like emergency quarterback a couple of times. I think John might have said it even this morning on the morning show. What, the definition of emergency quarterback, is that number 2, number 3? Like, how do you think about that?
They changed that rule in the league to where if you have 3 quarterbacks on your 53-man roster, then you can have a guy up as the third who really doesn't count as the guy's active. And if the first 2 get hurt, then he can go in. And I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with him going in as the 2. I'd be fine with him going in the 1. So depends on how these next 2 days go. And we'll have probably most likely till Saturday to make that decision.
When Mac has a performance like he did on Sunday on the road in New Orleans, I mean, I thought the offense looked great. I mean, at times he had to make some big throws. The final drive before the end of the first half, awesome. And then, of course, in the second half, he made some big plays. Does his play make a decision on Brock any easier for you?
No, it really doesn't. I mean, it's nice to have a backup that you have a lot of confidence in, and that you know can play at a high level. But it really has no difference. I mean, if Brock can go and protect himself, and the trainers say that they don't think it's a risk, and Brock feels confident to perform, then it doesn't matter at all to me what the backup does. You'd go with Brock.
Talking to Kyle Shanahan on the UMA guest line. So what is your usual approach when a backup QB plays for you the first time? I was a little surprised you had Mac Jones throw 39 times, but was the game plan to treat this game as if Brock was out there?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I treat it pretty much the same. If you got confidence in the guy, I mean, I didn't plan on going in and saying we were going to throw the ball 40 times. I didn't do that at all. I kind of went in planning to do what we always do, try to be very balanced in normal situations, which is anything I consider, you know, between the red zones and the normal part of the field, anything that's not 2nd and 10 or higher, or third downs or red zone. So anytime in that situation, we usually are 50-50. Certain things can happen in the game where that can go up, you know, whether it's 2-minute drives, being in a lot more third downs. I know we had a number of negative runs that got in us a few second and longs, but I think that's really what it called for. Didn't plan on it that way, but we felt that was what we needed to do to win the game.
Kyle Juszczyk left the game with a concussion. How's he progressing through the protocol, and how have you thought of, or what have you thought of the sort of in-game switch that Tonjes and Farrell have had to make in the last 2 weeks, both guys thrust into action in different roles?
Well, yeah, first of all, Kyle's he's doing great this week. You know, you got to pass all the protocol stuff, but just talking to him and communicating with him, he's been feeling good. But there's still protocols that he's got to pass and stuff, so we'll see how that goes. That's really out of everyone's hands, but he's had a good week so far. And, yeah, I can't say enough about those guys. I mean, when it was kind of a mess when Kittle went down for a little bit at Seattle, but we eventually settled down, and those guys made some huge plays. And I thought, all right, now we're prepared for that, and we cover all that, and we're pretty much good to go. And then kind of the opposite thing happened versus New Orleans, where then Juice went down, and then so we had to kind of scramble for a little bit with that. And it's a huge credit to those guys that, you know, they prepare for it, they look at all of it, but you don't get to go through it all in the week. So to be able to switch that stuff up, and they're early in the second quarter, and for them to play at a high level and make some big plays in that game was huge, and one of the big reasons we were able to still win.
We were all marveling at the play design of McCaffrey's touchdown. Can you walk us through that play with how McCaffrey splits out as a receiver and runs a route in between Pearsall and Jennings?
Yeah, it was actually the coverage we were hoping to get there, and we thought by him delaying off the ball just a little bit, they were in kind of a quarters combo coverage where they play outside and inside. They kind of triangle the two of them, and we thought by him delaying a little bit off the ball that Ricky could collect two people and Christian would sneak to the back corner of the end zone, and it actually didn't work as good as we thought it would. They kind of saw him get out there, but they just ended up dropping him, so he ran right by him, and he ended up getting open. It was a hell of a throw, really good protection, so he could wait on it. It is a long developing route. That was kind of what we were nervous of the most, but the O-line was able to get him the time, and then Mac threw a hell of a ball.
The other play I was looking at is the Juwan Jennings touchdown, 42 yards, longest touchdown of his career. When you see it on different angles and behind Mac, he's throwing him open, right? Like he wasn't open when Mac lets go of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, we went on the quick count, and I feel it caught them off a little bit because I believe their Mike should have been running it down the middle of the field, so he could have protected it a little bit, and there wasn't anyone. But their outside backers were so deep that usually you just check it down in the timing of the play. But there was no Mike there, and the guys were deep, but Mac had the protection, and he had the confidence to kind of just sit and wait on it. And he took a couple extra hitches to allow JJ to get past the deep linebackers, and then he threw it over those guys. And then JJ had a really good angle with the lead block from Tonjes, and it was a hell of a house call and a real big, important play in that game.
Yeah, huge throw, great play as Juwan finds the end zone. He left the game at one point and then came back in with the ankle, and he was, I guess, a game-time decision with the shoulder. He got kind of banged up. How's he feeling? What's his status for this week?
It's similar to last week, just a different injury with the ankle and stuff. So he hasn't been able to go at all this week. That's how it was last week. But he was able to get out there on Friday last week, which made him prepared, and he was able to gut it out and be ready for that game. And thank God he was, because he was huge in it. But this week it's been the same. He hasn't been able to practice yet. Hopefully he'll get out there tomorrow, but we're still not sure yet.
Talking to 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan on the UMA guest line, Eddy Piñeiro had a really nice debut, but what was going through your head when he missed that first PAT?
I was just trying to block it out, not let it affect me too much. Not get too down about it. If I knew if I would have, I probably would have gone for it the rest of the game, and that's never a good decision. I mean, It was his first one, so I wasn't going to let any past experiences for what's been going on kind of change me. So I tried to give him a freebie in my own head and just stick with that. And I'm glad I did, because he ended up drilling the next two like there was no big deal at all, hit him right down the middle, and that definitely was a huge part in getting that victory. If
you had to design the perfect interview or press conference that you have to do, would it be no kicking talk, no injury talk? Are those the top two things?
Definitely. That would definitely be the best, because I don't have a lot to say when a kick's missed, and I don't have a lot to say when a guy's hurt. But those are big questions I get a lot.
In terms of the offensive line, Ben Barch went down, but Connor Colby, a guy who I think everybody was high on in the preseason and throughout camp, stepped in. 0 pressures that he allowed this week. I guess the read on him, or the book on him, is that he's been really good in pass protection early on, which is something that I think young guys struggle with. What's your evaluation of him, and how good do you feel with him on the line filling in for Barch?
Yeah, it's I'm glad we got him, because that's how he was in training camp. That's how he was in these preseason games, and I'm not crowning him. Still got a long way to go. Sure. But he was ready for the moment, and it didn't surprise us at all, because that's how his demeanor's been since he's gotten here. Nothing seems really too big for him. I kind of like to say he's kind of like a true O-lineman in terms of he just loves ball and doesn't make it too big of a deal. It's he went out there and played on the road in his first NFL game, to me similar to how he would have just played growing up or playing in high school. So he's kind of got a cool demeanor where he never gets too high or too low, and that's how his game was versus New Orleans, and hope to see the same thing this week.
You faced Jonathan Gannon a few times with him being in Arizona and Philadelphia. Just what's the biggest challenge his defense pose?
Just all the things he does schematically. I mean, he's never going to let you get a beat on him. He's going to change up his fronts every play, every series. He's going to change up his personnel every series, every play. Same with his coverages. So he's going to do it from the back end all the way to up front. So he doesn't let you get a beat on him, mixes things up, makes you have to work really hard in the week, because anything you feel like you can really get on him, all you got to do is go to a couple clips later and realize, oh, man, that looked real good 2 plays ago, but now it looks like an interception or a turnover or a sack. So there's lots of things that kind of counter and can balance out in his defense. So we got our work cut out for us. He does a hell of a job. I think they've added some really good personnel this year to improve. It'll be a tough game for us on Sunday.
And just a couple more minutes, Kyle. I mean, you guys are wearing white at home this weekend. That's something that's rare for the 49ers, but understandable with how hot it gets. Is that something you decide, or is that decided by others?
I unfortunately had to decide that back in April this year.
What?
Because last year we had a heat wave.
Yeah.
Yes.
When we played them, and we knew that on a Monday, so I asked if we could wear white jerseys that week because, I started out my career in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And it was just such a big deal when it was that hot, when we'd be in the white jerseys and everyone was in their dark uniforms. I thought it was a huge advantage for us. I can always feel that disadvantage when you go to places like Miami and stuff. Never thought about it out here. I never thought it got too hot, but it was that one day, and we knew it was going to be. So we asked NFL if we could wear our whites, and they said you had to decide on that before the season started.
Wow.
And so I did think that could have been an advantage that we weren't able to take advantage of. So I had to decide in April, and I tried to look at the weather, and they didn't have it yet. So I just went with the percentages, well, hey, it might be hot, so we'll do white for first 2 home games. And I don't think it felt like that yesterday. It was real hot yesterday. I don't think it's supposed to be that same Sunday, but that was the reason we're doing it.
Is there any reason why the NFL needs that information in April?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me, but I mean, they probably don't want it to be an advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
They said we could do it if the other team agreed, but no other team is going to agree. So you got to do it before the year. So
gotcha.
I guess that's why.
Before I let you go, just kind of an off the board one. Tom Brady made this flag football announcement the other day, and your name was brought up as a coach. Are you coaching flag football next March?
I am. He just randomly asked me a couple weeks ago, and
he called you.
Yeah, and he said it was at the end of March. Should be good. That should work out on our calendar. It's only for 3 days, and I never thought I'd ever go to Saudi Arabia. Someone told me it sounded really cool. It sounded fun. Get to bring my wife. We all get to go down there together, and
nice.
It's not going to be too long, but it sounded like a real good experience. So as long as it doesn't mess with anything with our schedule here, I was flattered that he asked, and looking forward to getting a chance to do something like that.
Did you make any demands? I guess Christian's going. Do you have to have Christian? Is that part of your deal, your terms in your deal there?
I didn't, because I actually even forgot to tell my wife about it because it's in March, and so I was just oh yeah, sure, but then I hung up, and then you just go back to living in our hole that we do.
Right.
But I definitely think as it gets closer, I need to make some demands like that. I don't want to go against Christian.
No.
Definitely want him on my team.
All right, well, Kyle, good luck on Sunday, and we'll deal with the flag football stuff later. Good luck this week, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, man. Good stuff.